Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. I hope you guys had an amazing August with lots and lots of good books. I know I did, but now it is time to start looking ahead and thinking about September. I have what is probably an over-ambitious September, and we'll see how this all pans out. But I'm really excited about all my plans, so let me go ahead and jump right into them. So first of all, the things I'm reading right now, today is September 1st, I do have some carryover of things that I didn't finish in August. And I actually hate when this happens. I don't know why, because it really doesn't matter at all. A day is just a day. The next day is just as good to finish a book. It doesn't really matter when the calendar ends. But for some reason, I'm just kind of weird about that. I like to have books wrapped up at the end of the month. But here lately, it seems like I'm having some carryover. So I do have carryover this month, and I'm about 50% in on two different books. The first one is A Clash of Kings. This is a reread for me. This is actually the third time I've read this book. And no surprise, but it is even better every time I read it. So I am absolutely enjoying this. This is my first time reading it from this illustrated edition, and I'm having an amazing time with it. Love A Song of Ice and Fire. It's just my favorite, you guys. The other thing I'm reading, I don't actually have the book with me because I left it at work, which is really ticking me off. But I'm reading Cujo by Stephen King. This is my first time reading it, and I've actually never even seen the movie. I know that's like illegal, but I have a very good idea of the story already, just because, you know, it's old and pop culture, all that kind of stuff. The book is surprising me though, because it is like really, really scary. In fact, like there have been times that I was listening to it or reading it that I was like, I'm just going to put this down for a minute because I'm getting very uncomfortable. Like the tension is building and I feel like I know what's coming and I don't want it to happen. And that is exactly what makes Stephen King books so scary. So it's definitely working for me and I like it quite a bit. So I kind of picked that one up randomly, but I'm happy I got to it because I was in the mood for something scary. And trust me, it is scary for me at least. So I imagine I will have both of those wrapped up in the next couple of days, and then I'll be moving on to the things I have planned that I know I'm going to read. Like my highest priority things I definitely want to make sure I get to. The first one I want to mention is Fairy Tale by Stephen King. This is a new release. It's coming out on Tuesday, September 6th, and I'm planning to start that on release day. I have the book pre-ordered, I have the audiobook pre-ordered, and so I'm ready to fire that up as soon as I get access to it. This will only be my second Stephen King release day read. I'm pretty new to reading Stephen King, and I read Billy Summers on release day, or at least, you know, started it on release day, and that was really fun to kind of like be a part of that experience. And I'm going to do it again with Fairy Tale, and I'm pretty excited because a bunch of us are going to be reading it together, so I'm pretty excited for Fairy Tale, and like I said, that starts on the 6th, so I'm thinking by the time I have A Clash of Kings wrapped up and Cujo wrapped up, I'll be right about the right time for Fairy Tale. So I'm very, very excited for a new Stephen King. After Fairy Tale, my plan is to go straight into my reread of The Blackest Heart by Brian Lee Durfee. This is book 2 of the 5 Warrior Angel trilogy. A bunch of us are reading this together over at Mike's Discord, and I'm so thankful that everyone seems to be really, really enjoying it. I loved these books the first time I read them. I actually have a review about it. And guys, believe it or not, this is even better the second time around. And it's not surprising because these books, like there's a lot going on. There's a lot of lore, there's a lot of mystery, there's a lot of trope subversion and stuff that surprises you when you read it, and then you're like, how come I didn't see that coming? It's fun to read these again and kind of see it coming and be like, wow, like this was brilliantly plotted. So I had a ton of fun with my The Forgetting Moon book 1 reread back in August, and so I'm like chomping at the bit to get straight into The Blackest Heart because I remember liking this one even more than the first one, and after rereading the first one I liked it even more than I remembered liking it, so I know that this is going to be really, really fun to read, and even more fun reading it with friends. So I'm like I said, I'm just like can hardly wait to get to this because we had a great time reading book 1. Next up on my priority list is going to be wrapping up Codex Alera. I have 2 more books with Codex Alera. I have book 5, which is Princeps Fury, and book 6, which is First Lord's Fury. And I was really, really mixed on this the first, we're doing 2 a month. So the first month would have been in July. I read the first 2, and I was kind of even thinking about DNFing the series. I just really wasn't that impressed. I wasn't digging it that much, and nothing was just really like grabbing me. Like they were books that I would finish them and then not think about them again after I finished them, and that's never a good sign. Well, I read the next 2. I didn't give up. I read the next 2 in August, and halfway book 3, I was kind of like, okay, like some things have changed. Some new ideas are coming up, and some things happened that made books 1 and 2 a little better in hindsight. So I definitely was looking forward to book 4, read that one, and I really, really liked it. And again, it kind of did that thing where it made me like the books that I was a little iffy on. I liked them a little more after getting more information as I went. So I'm really excited to continue with this to kind of see where I end up landing on it. Because right now I'm kind of in the middle. The first 2 are pretty weak, but it seems to be building and getting better and more interesting and, more layered. So I'm really kind of just curious to see where this is going. I don't see this landing on my top 10 list anytime soon, but I think it's safe to say that by the time I'm all said and done with Codex Alera, I will at least be happy that I read it, because so far some pretty cool ideas are building up that I'm hopeful for. And the last thing that I'm definitely sure I want to read in September is going to be Where the Crawdads Sing. So in August, I did a reading sprint video with Theo. I'll link that right there. And it was really, really fun. All a reading sprint is basically we got together on a Saturday morning, fired up Zoom, we chatted for a little bit just like friends do and hung out, drank our coffee, that kind of stuff. And then we decided to put the timer on and we each read a book, just whatever we were reading at the time, for about 30 minutes. Then you tune back in, kind of talk about what you read, chit chat, maybe read again. It's really fun, super chill, laid back. Well, when we started the reading sprint, I had just finished a book, so I didn't really have anything ongoing. So on the live stream, I picked a new book to read, and we kind of all decided on Where the Crawdads Sing, because I've wanted to read it for a long time, and I know it's supposed to be really good, and there's a new movie and everything, but I haven't read it. So I only got like 2 chapters into it because I was pretty distracted that morning. But I liked what I read, and then I kind of sat it down and forgot about it. And that really wasn't because it was forgettable, because I was pretty intrigued by what I read. But I kind of started my The Forgetting Moon reread right afterwards, and I got like so caught up in that I just forgot about this guy right here. So I really want to kind of restart that and finish it, because I did like what I read so far. And in my opinion, most things that are really, really, really popular, which this book is, they're usually popular for a reason. And I'm not saying that's a across-the-board rule, because there's clearly lots of stuff that's kind of lame, that's popular, but this seems to be like no matter who you are, what types of books you typically read, like this is one that most people are like, oh yeah, I did read that, and it was really good, you would like it. So I'm confident that I'm going to like it. I just need to actually start it and finish it. So that is one that I want to read before the month is over. All right, so that leaves me with books that I want to get to if I have time left over. Like if you include finishing up Cujo and Clash of Kings, I have 7 books that are high priority. And if I'm looking at this stack right here, most of them are actually really big. Like those Codex Alera books, those are the fattest ones of all 6, are those 2 big boys at the end. And then Fairy Tale is over 600 pages. The Blackest Heart is enormous. And so I have a bunch of big books picked for September. So I don't know how much time I'll have left, but if I do, this is what I'm thinking. City of Brass. I have heard so much noise, and by noise I mean very, very positive praise for this series, the Daevabad trilogy. City of Brass is book 1, and there is a read-along going on currently in Mike's Discord, and I'm a sucker for a read-along. So I picked up these books. This one still has a sticker on it, but luckily it's a real sticker, not a fake sticker, so I can remove that. If I have time, I want to get to this. There's a read-along going, and gosh, I just heard so much good stuff about it, and I kind of want to jump in on that. I just don't want to overcommit. So if I have extra time this month, or if I feel like I'm going through stuff a lot faster than I had planned, then I do want to read this, because I already have the audiobook. It was on sale last month with Audible, and then I got a really good deal on all 3 of the books. So I really want to read this. I just don't want to commit to it just in case I don't have time. I don't want to let people down. Another book that I've been saying I want to read for months now, and I do really want to read, but for some reason it kind of always gets pushed off, is The Stress of Her Regard by Tim Powers. This is a very ugly, very beat up copy I have of this, so don't judge me. I assume I'm going to like this. Like, I'm planning to enjoy it. And when I do, I'm going to purchase myself a prettier copy because this is just like super beat up. But anyway, this is by Tim Powers and it was recommended to me by Christopher Rocchio. And apparently it is a vampire book, but it's like a realistic vampire book. And I've read the first couple chapters and I'm very, very intrigued by the writing style. And I've just been really meaning to get to this and I keep putting it off and I don't know why. So that one is also on the list. And this last one's actually hilarious that I'm adding it to my If I Have Time books because it is a huge book. And so if I start this in September, I fully plan on it spilling over into the following month. But my library hold for the audiobook of Lonesome Dove finally came through. And I am going to suspend it and let the next person in line go. But there's an option where you can do that to where you don't really lose your place. You just let the person behind you skip in front of you and then you get another chance to check it out after they're finished. And so I'm going to let the person behind me pass me and then kind of see where I'm at. But I've been waiting on this library hold for like 28 weeks and it finally came through. And I'm like, I don't really have time for... So like this copy of it is just about 900 pages, but the font is tiny. Like this is a huge book. So I've been wanting to read Lonesome Dove for so long now. So I really hope it works out with my library hold because I don't want to wait any longer, but I also have a lot of stuff already on my plate. So I don't know, maybe I will move some stuff around and reprioritize it because that is a book I've been wanting to read for a couple of years now. It's my grandpa's favorite book and I've always wanted to read it so like him and I can have a conversation about it. And I'm just excited to see what makes it so special for him. It's just an overall highly regarded book that seems to be an instant favorite for whoever reads it. So I'm very, very excited to get to it. Also because it's a Western, it's not fantasy, it's not sci-fi, it's not horror. And I like to step out of my comfort zone from time to time. I just don't usually do it with 45-hour audiobooks. So that one's making me laugh that I'm like, oh, if I have time, I'll just throw on Lonesome Dove at the end of the month. So we'll see how that goes, but it is on my radar. That library hold is just taunting me. So we'll see how that goes. So everyone, what do you think? What should I prioritize out of my we'll see if I have time stuff? What do you think of the ones that I prioritized? Have you read those? Let me know what you're planning to read in September so we can just chat about it and maybe, who knows, maybe we're reading some of the same stuff and we can sync up. So join me in the comments and I will see you guys later.